What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another version of Live Palace News, man. Everything just dropped. The balls have dropped. Pause. Pause. Just want to get that in there. All right. But the FA Cup fourth round results have been made final. We'll talk about that a little bit. Oh, actually, it's probably going to be a good amount of what we talk about here today in our episode. But with me today, I got my man AJ. What's going on, man?
I'm good, man. I mean, it's been I guess you can call it snowy weather. It's been some sub-zero temperatures down in London. For
Mm-hmm.
those that know, they know. We've got some kind of, I don't know if I would call it snowing as such, but some sleet and some very, 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 very cold conditions to deal with. So if anybody's out there, please wrap up, or if anyone's planning on going outside, wrap up because it's no joke out there, boys and girls.
Yeah, man, it's cold temperatures back here too, man. We are below freezing today and yesterday actually, so it's it's chilly out there for sure, man. But moving on, we're gonna talk about get into the first subject. The first thing we're gonna talk about, and then like I said, most of the show will be around the FA Cup. But it looks like information has come out today that Crystal Palace and Fulham have interest in young Luton center back Tindon Mendy, who has been having a really good season so far for Luton. For those of you that may know the name, Tindon Mendy is a Manchester United Academy product who has recently signed with Luton prior to their first year in the Premier League. So that's now I want to say three three young center backs that we've been connected with in so many days. Mosquera, Ronnie Edwards again, and now Tindon Miggy. AJ, what do you make of the rumors and the news of so many center backs recently?
Good question. It kind of worries me and it doesn't. I think inevitably we were going to get rid of one of those centre backs in terms of Anderson and potentially Gay. Do I want to lose him? No. It's good to see that the club are identifying potential replacements because the reality of the situation is, you know, we Gay kind of came out of nowhere, if that makes sense. He had a bit of championship football under his belt, but we brought him in, and he obviously has come on leaps and bounds. I mean, if we get crazy money for him, then I can't be too mad because obviously sustain-wise, we have to obviously be able to do that for us to be able to, air quotes, progress. Although as a Crystal Palace fan, I don't know what progression even looks like nowadays. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate the idea of Mengi. Yes, granted, he's a Man United academy, but anything associated with Man United nowadays is not really worth the salt. It's not worth its salt whatsoever, as far as I'm concerned, because the benchmark is quite low at Manchester United right now. Ironically, I actually prefer Gaten Edwards. I feel like he's definitely got something in him. He's the one that I've seen a few clips of him. He looks built for it. He looks like he could progress onto that next level. However, that being said, he doesn't have any championship experience. Neither does he have any Premier League experience where Mengi does.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever you want to say about him, myself included, is the differential with Mengi is he's got Premier League experience, and obviously he has trained with elite level players in terms of when he was at, so be it, a lackluster Manchester United team.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it all falls onto price and what the circumstances of who's going to walk out the door.
Yeah.
In an ideal world, I'd rather get Edwards, let Tompkins walk out the door, and then eventually progress Edwards onto the starter with Anderson, prepping for the inevitable departure of Gay. That kind of seems like that end of that equation kind of seems to be the case. And it's almost like we're buying a bargain replacement early, which I guess shows some kind of due diligence from the club. It's at the end of the day, we can't keep these quality players forever, especially when we're not progressing anyway. We need to be able to show a level of ambition on our side before we can even potentially keep any of our star players, not just Gay. That same goes for Elise, Eze, and other players in the team, to be fair. But if we're talking about here and right now and breaking into the scene, we need to start thinking about players that will start week in, week out and actually bring something to the squad.
Yeah.
If it does turn out that we're going to keep Gay and Anderson, I would be the first person to debate. We still got Richards there available. You know, we still do have a young Grennan there as well. You know, we lost O'Brien for peanuts, and he is doing absolute bits in France.
Yep.
In a very crappy Lyon team, granted, but at the end of the day, it's still an elite European league to an extent.
Yep.
It all falls down to circumstance. I think we need to really be concentrating on that right back position, because I just feel like that's just coming back to bite us so many times. And we've seen so many times that Klein and both Wardy have been caught out. Klein has been not too bad in the last few games, so obviously I will hold fire on that. Let's not pretend that we don't need a striker either. I think that's going to be sort of gone that can't go unnoticed. And I think with the Corey's injury, we need a serious centre midfielder as well. But at the same time, if the club is progressing and is getting these players in and these young and upcoming players in, then I can't really get too mad, because I almost felt quite similar about signing Henderson in the summer, and actually that investment starting to bear its fruit. It's taken a bit of time. We've had a little bit of ups and downs with it, but I'm first to admit and put my hands up and say, you know what? When he has come into the team recently, he's done some amazing saves, and he's actually been pretty brilliant, to be fair. So I don't hate the idea of getting another centre back. I just don't know if that's particularly the priority right now.
Right.
That would be something where, let's see how the summer goes. Let's see what we're cooking in the summer. Let's see who's leaving, who's coming through the door. Because I'm not convinced, unless we go in some absolute insane turn of form, or we make a very large turn of events in terms of management level, then I don't see why or how we keep these players anyway. So maybe we should just kind of come to an acceptance of sending a Gay or an Anderson, or even potentially both. And yeah, let's get on the ball and start thinking about how we're going to replace those players. And Mengi doesn't really upset me in terms of that kind of quality.
Yes, it's interesting because as you were actually sitting there and describing Mengi in comparison to Ronnie Edwards and saying, hey, you know, he's actually in the Premier League right now. He's trained with elite athletes, like he's playing at a top level. It almost sounded like you were describing Gahey, and right before we picked him up. Because outside of the fact that Gahey didn't have Premier League experience before joining us, so I guess Mengi has that little bit of a nod. But you know, it's very similar to what we saw out of Gahey. Gahey had been playing first team football that time in the Championship, but he had come from Chelsea, where he's playing with top level talent, training with them, you know, day in and day out, and he comes here and he does well. Mengi does have that asset, which is going to be a nice thing. Thinking about when they come in, I mean, I think the article itself actually said that more than likely it will be a summer move for him, because Luton are, of course, in the fight to, you know, try to stay in the Premier League and try not to get relegated. So selling away their starting center back in January probably isn't going to happen for them at this point, I would imagine. But we'll see what happens with that. Just want to tap in with a couple of things that some of our fans have been saying here. Tim chimed in and said, honestly excited about Edwards as a future prospect. But hearing this morning that Tottenham wants to send Spence back out on loan is exciting. I'd have him loan with an option to buy. It's funny, Tim, because I tweeted about this, I think yesterday, and I was like, I'm probably in the minority of this thinking, but I would like to see him. I'd take him in, you know, pretty quickly, even with all he's been through. And I'm almost up to 100 something likes on it. So obviously there's a lot of other people that agree with me. I mean, yeah, he's been through a lot. Now hear all these talk about his attitude and things like that, but with the needs that we have at right back right now and the potential that he has, I don't know. I mean, I'd take him, but I don't know if Roy will play him. What do you think, AJ?
Ooh. Young, exciting potential. That's not Roy's. Roy wouldn't play him. It's just not his. It's not his. It's not in his DNA. Like, it's just not what he does. Mm-hmm. I am actually on the other scale. I think for me, I'm not a fan of stereotypes, and I'm not a fan of people that assume or make an assumption on somebody based on opinion. I've never been a fan of that. I've been victim of that myself.
Right.
However, when one or two managers might say it, you can kind of brush it under the carpet and you can kind of take a chance. But it does seem like everywhere he's been, barring that very, I guess, that season at Forest where it sort of propelled him into the limelight, he's not really. There's something wrong there. I don't know what it is. It might be an attitude problem. There might be something else going on in the background that me and you aren't aware of. But I have concerns.
I wonder if
when you've got
playing, like.
Yeah, but then everywhere he's gone, he is playing.
It's like maybe for him, maybe he's not enjoying where he's living when he's playing for these. Like,
but then, all right, put it this way, right? As far as I understand, he's a South London boy. That I'm pretty confident that's a fact. I'm so sure. But the thing I'm starting to see a pattern here. He goes to a club, he plays a couple games, 1 or 2 games don't go right. Then all of a sudden, the coaches kept questioning his attitude, and that seems to have been the case at all higher level forms of football. Now, many might say that Warnock's got maybe dinosaur mentality of football, and that seems to have been the case with a few players. It's not just him. There was a few Palace Academy players that were victim of that when he was at Palace as well. So I do know that Warnock is a bit of Marmite towards certain types of players. He either likes or he hates them. There is no in between with him.
Right.
But he's done that big boy move. He's gone to Tottenham. He's had one manager. He's then gone on loan. He's had another manager. He's gone back to Tottenham. He's had another manager again. He's gone back out on loan again to Leeds at championship level, and he still can't seem to cut it. And there's been a constant pattern. The thing that doesn't work in his favor is obviously when the Warnock nonsense came out in the media, he obviously went and put that post, which I thought was bloody hilarious at the time, when he's standing there with his cigar and he's tagging Neil Warnock, and I thought that was pretty funny. I probably liked that picture 100 times on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But now that I've sort of seen the transition, it's almost like he's living in that moment and he hasn't been able to kick on from that.
Right.
Do we really want to be taking what could potentially be a bad egg into the changing room? Or do I persist with a Nathaniel Clyne or a Joe Ward for the next 6 months and then, fingers crossed, touch wood, the club pulls their finger out in the summer? I just feel like there are loads and plenty of other right-back options available that we're not seeing or we're not investing in, that doesn't have to be involved with that player.
And that's true.
I just don't want the risk of bringing a player that could potentially really mess things up in the dressing room, because I do believe that if he came to Palace and it turns out he is somebody with a bad attitude, Roy's not going to stand for that. The club's not going to stand for that. The fans aren't going to stand for that. And from what I can make out, there's definitely a half-decent harmony in that dressing room. So I'm pretty sure the players won't have it either. So I'm a bit worried. I think there's something going on there. And until it comes out a bit clearer, I would stay clear.
Right. And part of me wonders how he would get along. I feel like he would get along with some of our guys pretty well. Like, how do you not get along with guys like Ebbs and Michael Elise?
But then is that because he's black and from Southwest London? Or sorry, from South London?
I mean, what works?
That's not always.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
It helps because they're relatable, innit? But the thing is, he played his best football under Cooper. He played his best football under Cooper in one season in Nottingham.
Cooper comes up again.
So, if we potentially were to get Steve Cooper, I don't hate that idea, by the way. That's a different story for a different video. But if we were to potentially get Steve Cooper and Steve Cooper can potentially get the best out of him, maybe. But I don't know. There's something a bit weird going on there, and I can't quite put my finger on it. And I'd like to know more. Yeah, I want to know more about him before I find out, because
I don't think Leeds has really released any information about.
Because who's even coaching Leeds right now? I don't even know.
I couldn't tell you. Since Jesse Marsh left, I haven't even been following.
Nah, it's not Marsh. I almost feel like it was.
Since he left, I haven't really. I'm not even sure. But
I don't even know who's coaching Leeds.
This question coming from Cody Mingy is 21. He was asking how.
I'll take him.
He's 21.
I'll take him. I think Mengi would definitely scream decent.
Schurz, they wanted $30 million for Schurz. That's what happened. We weren't paying $30 million.
That was the most strangest transfer rumor of last summer, to be honest with you. The whole Schurz thing, to be honest, I don't know what quite happened there.
Yeah,
But
I don't know what happened.
we won't get in for the money they're asking for. It's just not our kind of football club level of spending. I feel like there are loads of centre backs available, but Rob Edwards is one I like. I just don't understand why everyone sucked onto the Jed Spence thing. I know it's a position we need, but I feel like
people see the fact that you probably can get a really talented guy for next to nothing. It's just it's a very Palace thing. You know what I'm saying?
Do you know what this reminds me of, right? Very rare example. You know when you go to the club and you see that beautiful girl in the corner and she's out here looking like one of those Instagram models. Mm-hmm. She's toxic. She's got a horrible reputation. She's got all kinds of horrible things going on. And that can work in reverse, by the way, ladies. So don't worry about it. That can be a man over there doing exactly the same thing, right?
Yeah, facts.
They've got this horrible reputation. Everyone they've ever dated, it's always gone wrong. They had that one great relationship back in the day, but they're nice to look at because you're lonely. You ain't really pulled or anything on that night out. And then all of a sudden you're thinking, you know what? It just makes sense. It seems perfect.
So what you're saying is we're going to do it.
Oh, man. It just feels like there's something going on there, man. I need to know more. I don't hate the idea.
I need to know more.
I need to know more. You sparked my interest. Like you got my interest, but there's something not quite adding up here, and I don't know. I just need to get. I can't put my finger on it, right. And I'm nowhere near in a position or qualified to even start. Yes, Farke is coaching at Leeds. So
could you imagine
Farke, who's worked with
not getting along with Daniel Farke?
But how is that possible? He really developed Max Aarons, Ben Godfrey. He developed those players at Norwich. He's gone back to Tottenham where you got Ange Ball, and let's be honest, Ange Postecoglou seems like one of the most chilled guys on the planet.
I don't think the Ange thing is an issue. I think it's more about who he has in front of him. What Tottenham has.
He's not getting in front of Pedro Porro. Like, I
don't think it's the fact that they don't like him at Tottenham. It's just that they got guys there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think that Ange would definitely have him there if he was good for the dressing room. Because obviously all Tottenham need is one or two injuries and then they got problems.
$20 million investment that's just going to sit there.
Yeah, but it's Tottenham anyway, and they can afford to do that. It's not like us.
But we know how cheap Tottenham is, and any money that they can squeeze out and get back to use. I mean, you're talking about Tottenham, who's never spent more than $60 million on a player. Like,
I don't know, man. I feel like Ange would utilize the squad if there was something there that he liked and he wanted. I feel like he would have used him, or he'd keep him around.
Yeah.
Hell, I could imagine him changing in position. Because I'm pretty sure he can play as a right wing back. He can play right back. He can possibly, if you're a fullback on the right, I don't see historically why he couldn't go on the left either. He's been everywhere, and it just doesn't seem to be working anywhere he goes. So there's got to be something in that. I feel like we could, granted this is more of a fantasy signing, but the Bowie thing, where did that go? Yeah, Max Aarons was an option in the summer, and then he ended up at Bournemouth.
Yeah.
So I feel like there are other right back options there. I feel like we're getting a little bit one-dimensional. I think we're just so track-minded on getting a right back that we're just going to take who's available rather than who's going to bring. Yeah, I don't know, man. There's something about Jed Spence that just doesn't sit right with me, and I can't put my finger on it. But that's just my personal opinion, by the way. We might end up signing him. He might turn out to be the next Cafu for all I know. Like, we can get it wrong at any given time. But I'm going to be honest. I got to just speak my mind. There's something not quite right there, and there's something not adding up there. And yeah, granted, we're Crystal Palace. Beggars can't be choosers.
Right.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that I have to bring a bad egg into the squad just to fill a void that I've been craving.
Facts. All right, well, shoot, moving on, man. We're going to talk a little bit about the FA Cup 4th round draw that just took place a few minutes ago. For those that aren't aware, it looks like the draw gave us the opportunity to play the winner of either Luton, who we were just talking about, interesting enough, and Bolton. So if we are able to get past Everton first things first. If you're able to get past Everton, we would then play the winner of Bolton and Luton. So that was a part of the FA Cup draw. Just giving you guys a little bit of what else happens. The winner of West Ham or Bristol will play Nottingham or Blackpool. Looks like West Brom will host Brentford or Wolves. Bournemouth, Swansea. Blackburn, Wrexham. Chelsea will face Villa. So it looks like we'll have one Premier League side that'll get knocked out there. Sheffield, Coventry City. Leicester will play either Hull City or Birmingham. Leeds, Plymouth, Argyle. Tottenham are making another move or making another Premier League clash against Man City. And Liverpool will host either Norwich or Rovers. So it's some pretty good matches in there. Oh, also, Fulham takes on Newcastle. So there's going to be 3 Premier League only ties. So 3 Premier League teams are going to be getting bounced when the time comes. But it's a pretty good draw for us if we can get past Everton, don't you think?
Let's get past Everton first. It depends what version of Everton show up, to be fair. I think that's definitely a favourable draw for whoever the two of us goes through, to be fair, because I'll tell you what, Luton will be concentrating on Premier League football, and Luton do not have a big enough squad to cause that kind of damage in the FA Cup.
Mm-hmm.
I would, or do you know what? Plot twist, we could potentially obviously get Bolton. Don't rule that out either, because you know what the FA Cup's like. It's full up of shocks and surprises. And
any given day.
Oh, I'll tell you what, man. Some of the games I've seen, I'll tell you what, we've come close to getting some serious second-hand embarrassment. I do think we can beat Everton. I can't remember what I said to D at the time, but I think prediction-wise, I think we said we'd probably make the 6th round. Are we going to win the World Cup with Roy? No, there's no blaze of glory under the summer. That's not happening.
That's not happening.
Otherwise, there's a very expensive shirt on the line for me, to be fair. But if that happens, that happens. We'll see. I would love to be wrong. On this one time, should we win the FA Cup with Roy, I promise you, I'll be the first to come on the stream, and I will literally, in bold text, with a T-shirt on, say, I was wrong. Roy is a legend, and I would happily clap the man off. But chances of that happening are quite slim, and you know what? I tend not to bet against things that go against me. So, we're not going to win it, but it gives us a favourable draw. And you know what? The more favourable draws in the FA Cup, you got to take them.
Yeah, you're right, man. That's. I mean, the thing about it is, you can't be afraid to admit the wrong. Like, I feel like that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if anything, that's a situation where I want to be proved wrong. You know what I'm saying? So,
do you know what this does though? It screams easy fixtures, easy banana skin. That's the only thing I'm trying to do. I don't know. So I do apologize. I'm definitely glass half empty today. Maybe because it's Monday evening in the cold weather, but
yeah, I mean, let's not.
Oh man,
let's not be honest. I mean, let's not lie and say that we haven't slipped up in easy fixtures before.
Hey, listen, mate. I've been sellers and seen some things, man. I've seen some things. Yeah, but at the same time, I've seen it go right. I mean, I remember one given night a couple of years ago, we had Tottenham at Selhurst, and they couldn't score for Toffee. I believe Trippier even missed a penalty that day as well. So, hey, the FA Cup, one game, 90 minutes, man. Things can go your way. Hopefully, that will be our case this year.
The way the road is set up, man, if you can get past these next couple rounds, you guaranteed to have 3 other Premier League teams knocked off in this 4th round. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, we did. Let's be honest. If we're being brutally honest with ourselves, depending, because I know Everton's got a few injuries. I just read today because I've been out and about today. To be fair, I've not really sat down and watched news. But from my understanding, Onana's been linked with Arsenal, so that could potentially create a gap in the Everton midfield. Dyche might be potentially concentrating on the league at that point. This is all hope and hypotheticals, by the way. I do like a bit of those once in a while. Let's say we get past Everton at Goodison. We don't have a great record at Goodison, by the way, but you never know.
Right.
I mean, a Bolton or a Luton in that round, yeah, give or take. And then, end up getting a Maidstone, giant killing Maidstone, but then, they pick up a few inches. And we knock them out, man.
The magic,
Hypotheticals, mate. Hypotheticals. Magic of the cup, mate.
Run. The magic of the cup run, man.
I will be there, mate. Don't worry about that. But nah, man. I like the fixture. I like the result. It's nice to get a favorable fixture because over the years I have been one of the first to complain when we've been drawn against a Man City or Arsenal earlier in the cup. To be fair, so really, Roy and the boys have no excuses.
Yeah,
they should have no excuses.
We just got to go out and put up a good performance. And like I said, first thing first, we got to get everything done. After going to Everton 0-0, I've had enough magic of the cup for this season.
Yeah. Mitch knows, mate. Mitch knows,
man. Oh yeah, man. Mitch also said love to see AJ rocking a Hodgson 76 shirt.
Hell, Mitch, I'll tell you what, right? We win the FA Cup, I'll get him to sign it. I'll invade the pitch and get him to sign it. I promise you.
Yeah,
Roy that love in Croydon, Roy that I've seen in various parts of Croydon, including the likes of West Wickham and Hayes and them kind of areas. Hey, I'll find a way, I'll stalk Hodgson until I get that shirt. Don't you worry about that. Oh, listen. Get Palace their first ever trophy, I will be there, mate. Don't you worry about that. Surely in my lifetime, we must be able to pull it off. Surely.
So in speaking about it, I mean, naturally, yes, the fourth round draw that we just were able to see and find out about is all well and great, but we have a job to do with Everton. What would you say has to happen in the reverse fixture in this situation?
Oh, I mean, I think they'll be up for it. They will be up for it more than we were up for it at home. It's got to be said. I think one thing you got to admit about the fans of Everton or any player, or any of those teams up north, they will be up for it. Okay. So the atmosphere is going to be tense. I mean, I remember seeing videos of some old lady beating the living daylights out of Anderson's backside when he was picking up for a throw-in. So they'll be up for it. As far as I understand, I think Calvert-Lewin will probably be back from suspension because he'll probably miss the league game, whatever that may be.
Does he only miss cup matches or can he come
back? No, as far as I understand, I think it will be, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it will probably be a few games because it's normally English games. So I could be wrong, but as far as I understand, he'll probably miss a game or so. Even without Calvert-Lewin, they play that, Beto up front. Midfield, I know Gay's injured for them. God knows what's going on with Onana. Doucouré's been picking up knocks left, right, and centre. But then they'll still have their centre backs. McNeil's no joke. Are they going to invest in January? Not too sure. And then overall, it depends on who we've got fit as well, because we don't know when Elise is going to be back. True. Eze's not in his best of form. I love Elise, I love Eze, but I don't know what's going on with his form.
I think Elise comes back that quick. That's only 9 days.
Possibly Edward, maybe a Franca cameo, France a cameo even.
France starts it honestly, and maybe
I would like for him to start because as far as I'm concerned, he's the truth. He's definitely worth the hype. He played brilliantly against Everton.
He didn't show any reason not to believe in it for real.
Well, I think the way I look at it is he was kicked to shreds in that game, but that's normally quite complimentary of a winger, a young, exciting winger at that kind of level. We saw it happen to Zaha. They attempted to do it, Balassi, but Balassi was built differently. I will even go back to days when they used to do it to Wayne Routledge as well. So, and normally a young, exciting winger at Palace, the MO and the normal welcome to the Premier League level is getting kicked to living daylights out of you by big boy tough
and he stood
monsters. And he kept getting up, he kept pursuing. Give him the ball a little bit more. Hopefully he'll grow in confidence and start demanding the ball a little bit more. I'd like to see a little bit more of that out of him. But I thought he was good. I thought he was brilliant against Everton. But we'll see. Let's see what squad we're going to put out. Just don't give me the Hughes schlup gyro crap that we're used to. Just give me something. Give me something. Give me hope.
You know that's coming in some shape, form, or fashion. It's first and foremost. Schlupp will be there. As long as he's healthy, he'll be there.
Mate, Death Taxes and Jeffrey Schlupp.
What's happening, man? I don't.
Tim, forget it. He's done out here.
I mean, I think he might end up getting loaned out before he gets a chance to show to.
Yeah, that's just not going to happen. I'm afraid not. He looks so promising in preseason, but for whatever reason, Roy doesn't seem to rate him. He makes the bench on occasion, so maybe a couple of injuries, but he just doesn't seem to be getting much of a look in right now. I would probably bank on somebody like Raksaki playing in over him right now, to be honest.
I mean, once he gets healthy, yeah, definitely. Because I mean, Raksaki has shown, promise under Roy. You know what I mean? So, well, shoot, that about do it for today. For the show for today, we want to say thank you to everybody tuning in, man. I think we got up around 60 or 70 people today in the live viewing. But we'll be back for more live Palace news. We wanted to just connect with you all for the 4th round draw and talk a little bit about some rumors and things. But we'll be back real soon. And of course, as always, up the Palace.